Please welcome Jennifer Rieger, Harris for President and Pennsylvania Democrats Super Volunteer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Jennifer Rieger. I'm a public educator. I'm a professor. I'm an author. I'm a mama bear to one son and over 3,000 graduates. Yes. And I am voting for Vice President Harris this November for President of the United States. You know, when I first became an English teacher, I thought I knew what the job entailed. I designed meticulous lessons. I stayed after school supporting those who needed extra help. And I chaperoned every kind of fun and annoying activity that you could possibly fathom. And I learned to love them all as my own. But there were many realities that my younger self was a little bit naive to. Nobody told me about the disparity in the education system, how my general supplies closet in Upper Merion looked far different than the supply closets in the Philadelphia schools. How those teachers did not have the same kind of working conditions or salaries or retention rates. Nobody told me I'd be fighting for intellectual freedom, that there are people out there more concerned with banning books than banning assault weapons. Nobody told me that I would be the only mom that some of my students would have. Nobody told me that my best teacher friends and I would journey to Washington, D.C. on a freezing January day in 2017 to march for all of these things. And to march for much more, right? I knew deep in my bones what was going to happen. I knew that the Trump administration would quickly crank the tension, making this country more polarized than we could ever fathom. Vice President Harris has always stood up for teachers. She believes in a future where everyone, especially our kids, has the opportunity to get ahead. That's right. Kamala Harris wants to take us forward, and Donald Trump wants to take us backwards. And it's that simple. I am here today for my 3,000 plus graduates, and for the students that I don't even know yet. All of them, they all matter. Their freedom matters, their futures matter. They deserve the kind of leadership that Vice President Harris has brought and will bring to this country. And to Donald Trump, we have a simple message. We are not going back. That's right. There are less than 100 days until this election day. We have a lot of work to do. That means we must raise our voices both offline and online to help to deliver Pennsylvania for Kamala Harris. If you see a campaign staffer, ask them how you can sign up to get involved. Additionally, all of you in the audience received a digital toolkit in your email today with guidance on how to spread the word online. Please check your email and be sure to post on social media about today's event, take lots of pictures, and let everyone in your network know why electing Vice President Harris is so critical to protect our freedoms and to protect our democracy. Thank you so much.
Please welcome John Dean, United Food and Commercial Workers Union.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Dean, and I live here in Montgomery County with my wife and 2 children. We hear it every time an election rolls around. This is one of the most consequential of our lifetime. You kind of get tired of hearing it, right? I don't blame you, but for my family and it really is. I'm a proud member of my union, UFCW Local 1776. I've been a union member for 36 years throughout my career with Acme Markets. In 2001, when our pension was struggling and on the verge of falling apart, my coworkers and I feared it would be taken away. We'd invested years and years of our hard-earned income into our retirement, and through no fault of our own, we were on the verge of losing it all. It was downright scary. I worked day and night to provide for my wife and children and set us up for a secure future. And now, all that was in jeopardy. Just like that. But that's when the Biden-Harris administration stepped up to make sure workers who were in struggling pension plans got the help they needed through the American Rescue Plan. This was a huge investment in workers, not massive corporations, not the ultra-wealthy, but the people who run this country. This pension relief in the American Rescue Plan made sure workers who had been promised a retirement with dignity would not be screwed over. That was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris who made sure of that. This was life-saving relief. When Donald Trump was president, he left workers out to dry. He gave tax breaks to the wealthy and supported anti-union policies. And if he's president again, he has promised to reverse key Biden-Harris accomplishments, including rolling back components of the Inflation Reduction Act. He wants to gut Social Security and raise our taxes. President Biden and Vice President Harris have been the most pro-labor administration in history. While Donald Trump is in the pocket of the rich, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have stood with us, shoulder to shoulder. That's real leadership, and that's why this election is so consequential. Kamala Harris will fight for workers, for our rights to collectively bargain, and for an economy that works for all of us. She believes in a future where all of us have an opportunity not to just get by, but to get ahead. We can't say the same for Donald Trump. He's shown us who he fights for. Let's take him at his word. Working families are proud to support Kamala Harris for president. Are we? Are we? That's what I thought. Thank you all.
Please welcome Dr. Ayla Stanford.
Good afternoon, Pennsylvania. My name is Dr. Ayla Stanford. I am a physician and a product of Pennsylvania. I was born in Philadelphia, educated in Erie, State College, Hershey, and Pittsburgh, and raising my children where I vote in Montgomery County. Pennsylvania raised me, giving me the tools I needed to go off and flourish. I love my community, so in return, I've spent my entire adult career as an educator, an advocate, author, and healthcare provider, supporting those who did the same for me. But over the last several years, barriers and obstacles have been placed in our way in pursuit of this aim to provide the best care possible and to first do no harm. Donald Trump promised he would appoint justices to the Supreme Court who would overturn Roe v. Wade. And that's what he did. And now he brags about that he got it done. He calls state abortion bans a beautiful thing to watch. I will tell you, there is nothing beautiful about the fact that his abortion ban forced a 13-year-old girl in Mississippi to give birth after being raped because of state strict abortion laws. There is nothing beautiful about a woman in Texas going into sepsis, toxins in her bloodstream, bacteria throughout her body, and being forced to the verge of death before doctors could give her the treatment she needed to save her life. This is what he brags about. I'm a doctor, a surgeon, and let me tell you, an exam room is too small to fit a woman, her doctor, and the entire United States government. Kamala Harris understands this, and she is the leader women and our allies need at this moment. I want to tell you a story about the leader I know and whom I got to witness at work. It was September 2020. Then candidate Harris was campaigning in Philadelphia. I shared with her my struggles using my private practice to get resources to take care of the hard-working people of southeastern Pennsylvania. She applauded my efforts, encouraged me to continue fighting, and promised that if she were elected, things would be different. And when she was elected, becoming the first woman to hold the office of vice president, she and President Biden gave me the support to continue to care for people like my own. And our reach grew exponentially, providing direct care to over hundreds of thousands of people, and we saved lives. And I continue to fight for that every day in my community. And then, in 2022, I had one of the greatest opportunities of my lifetime. I was appointed to be the regional director of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, overseeing our great state of Pennsylvania, as well as D.C., Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. During that time, I focused on healthcare access, mental health, maternal health, infant mortality, and drug costs. Vice President Kamala Harris worked with me side by side to ensure that those who needed help got it through the Affordable Care Act. She held this value that many of all of us in this room hold, is that health care is a right, not just a privilege for those who can afford it. I too witnessed firsthand how she worked tirelessly to expand postpartum coverage, calling on states to expand coverage from 60 days to a year for women in need. And I see how she's fighting to protect access to in vitro fertilization so that couples could bring life into this world and raise a family together. That fight fight has been personal to me. Without IVF, I would not have given birth to my 3 beautiful children. I talk about it candidly in my book, and I'm sharing it publicly the first time with the 1,000+ of you. Because this is personal to me and to women all over this country, and Kamala Harris gets it, and Kamala Harris gets things done. As president, she will restore reproductive freedom, make sure that women have rights to make decisions about their own bodies. She'll treat gun violence like the public health crisis it is to get weapons of war off of our streets. A tough woman like this scares Donald Trump. And boy, is he sweating. Our next president, President Kamala Harris, has earned her seat at the table. Because you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. And Vice President Kamala Harris is ready for the job of President of the United States of America. So let's get out, let's get to the polls, let's help someone get to the polls, let's take our rights back, and let's fight, because when we all work together, when women fight, we win. And next, I have the pleasure of introducing the Governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. And the Governor of the Commonwealth of our great state of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
Hello, Pennsylvania! Wow, this is phenomenal. Are we fired up? I want to start by thanking all the speakers who shared their stories. And obviously, I've got to thank one of my very best friends and fellow governors, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. How good is Josh Shapiro? Well, he's gotten a heck of a lot done in over the last year and a half. And it's another example of Democratic governors who believe in our 3-part strategy. Get shit done. Let's jump in. I got to take a minute to shout out my good friend Bob Casey. We got to get him reelected. And of course, I want to thank a man who dedicated 50 years of his life, Scranton's own Joe Biden. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gretchen Whitmer. Back home, yes, back home, my friends call me Big Gretch. So you can too. I'm proud to be the governor of Michigan, and I am proud to be here with all of you. We are working our tails off to elect Kamala Harris, our next president. And while I'm here, I'll just say, go Birds. With one caveat, when they play my Lions, I'm just saying. All right, football crowd, let's talk about what we agree on, and that is that this is a place that, based on how the Phillies are playing this summer, Pennsylvania knows a little something about gritty, right? And that's something we share in common. Pennsylvania and Michigan are a lot alike. I want to tell you a little bit about me and why I do the work that I do, because it is about every single one of us. You know, I was raised in a bipartisan household. My dad worked for a Republican governor. My mom worked for a Democratic attorney general. But they taught my siblings and me the same thing I know a lot of people in this room were taught: the value of hard work. My first job was at a lumber yard. I also stocked the shelves at Target and worked the line at the Royal Fork Buffet. When I went to Michigan State University is when I did an internship at the AFL-CIO. And that's when I fell in love with public policy and understood why it's important that the working men and women of this country have voices and leaders who care about them, right? I ran for the Michigan legislature at the age of 28, and a lot of people said that was too bold, it was too far, maybe I should set my sights lower. But you know what? I ignored those guys.
Good.
And in my first term in the legislature, I became a member of the sandwich generation. You guys know what that means? Some of you do, yes. I was sandwiched between two generations of my own family for whom I was the primary caregiver. My mother, who was dying of brain cancer at the age of 59, and my daughter, who I had just given birth to. And it was really that time of my life that forged who I am now. I don't have time for baloney. I don't suffer fools. I can't countenance people who want to make problems into something that benefit them instead of just solving the problems, right? I remember long nights worrying about my baby and arranging her childcare, fighting with my mom's insurance company, making sure that I was ready for work the next day and my bills were paid on time. It was not an extraordinary thing. So many Americans, so many Pennsylvanians know what I'm talking about. This is what Americans juggle every single day. And I was lucky. I had a great job, I had daycare, I had my family and a voice in my community. And that's what every American in this country deserves, no less. A job that pays you enough to take care of your family, fair wages and good benefits, dignity, decency, and respect. And you know who agrees with me? Our Vice President Kamala Harris does. Pennsylvanians are a lot like Michiganders, and Wisconsinites for that matter. We disagree during Big Ten football season, but we got a lot in common. We care about one another. We're willing to show up and do hard, tough work and take pride in that work. But we expect to have our freedoms protected. The freedom to not just get by, but to get ahead. The freedom to make our own damn decisions about our own damn body. The freedom to be who we are and love who we love. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. The freedom to be safe in school or houses of worship and in your community. Yes. We are the party, as Governor Shapiro likes to say, of real freedom for Americans. And I know that freedom is center of mind for all of us when we head to the polls in November. We know that there is a person who will stand shoulder to shoulder with us to fight for our freedoms, and that is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris understands the challenges that we face. She's been fighting for the people of Michigan and Pennsylvania every day as vice president. She's done work to bring down the cost of insulin. She's done work to add tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs right here over the last few years. Kamala Harris is the reason that we are making huge investments in infrastructure and our roads and bridges from Harrisburg to Lewisburg. Yeah. And she'll never stop fighting for our freedoms because she cares about every one of us. And here's how I know. Vice President Harris has dedicated decades of her life to public service. As district attorney, she put crooks and sex offenders behind bars. And it makes me think maybe that's why Donald Trump's so scared of her. As Attorney General, she went after the big banks and got people their money back. As Senator, she worked across the aisle on legislation to keep people safe and worked with Republicans to protect our nation from cyber attacks. And as Vice President, she helped bring jobs home, lowered the cost of health care, and led the fight to protect reproductive freedom. And let's be clear, Kamala Harris has more experience than the Trump-Vance ticket combined. Between the two of those dudes, they only have 5.5 years, and it's not public service, it's self-service that they're in the business of. So our vice president is tough. She's experienced and she is ready. And she knows the job is not finished. That's why she's going to keep fighting for policies that make it easier for us to raise families. She'll keep fighting to lower costs and create more good-paying jobs. She'll keep fighting to protect our fundamental freedoms. And she will get it done because that's who she is. So the contrast in this election couldn't be more clear. Donald Trump bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade and sexually assaulting women. He lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs, including right here in Montgomery County. He tried slashing Medicare and Social Security and repealing the Affordable Care Act. Thankfully, he didn't win on any of those. He appointed Supreme Court justices who are rolling back our rights. He cut taxes for himself and his buddies, and he tried overturning an election. Now, I gotta take a minute to talk about the guy who joined his ticket a couple weeks ago. Oh, you heard of him, did you? J.D. Vance, yeah. He's really made his values clear lately. He does not see women as equals. He does not want everyone to have a seat at the table. He's scared of us. Because Democrats, we want everyone to have a seat at the table. I mean, even cat lovers and dog lovers alike. Now, my grandma always said I needed to find at least one good thing about every person. And so I'll give JD this. He is efficient. In one sentence, he insulted women, black people, and Jewish people. That's efficient. And that's all I got. Trump and Vance want to take us backwards, but we're not going back. Our response to them is simple: hell no. Are we going back to less freedom? Are we going back to cronies and crooks who help themselves at our expense? Are we going back to dangerous extremists? Oh, you're so good at this. Thank you. My friends, the choice is clear. We are moving forward. We are going to build a brighter future and a new chapter for America with Kamala Harris. Can you say hell yeah? Hell yeah! Kamala Harris, the prosecutor who keeps communities safe. Hell yeah! Kamala Harris, the senator who knows how to deliver results. Hell yeah! Kamala Harris, the vice president who puts America back on track. Hell yeah! Michiganders and Pennsylvanians have a big job over the next 99 days. We are on the front lines. We all remember 2016, where Trump won our states by less than 55,000 votes. That's just 366 votes a county. Now you tell me, can you make 366 calls? Well, come on, hell yeah. Can you knock on 366 doors? Can you donate $36.60? When we do the work, we win. We sealed the deal for Joe Biden. Let's seal the deal for our next president, Kamala Harris. Yes. So, from now until November, we all need to dig deep. Tell your friends what's at stake. Like those memes and share TikToks, but don't just do that. Knock doors, make calls, write postcards, think about every day what can you do to make sure that we win this thing. And take care of yourself along the way. Eat a vegetable on occasion, okay? If the last few weeks have shown us anything, it's that energy is contagious. Joy is contagious. Let's do the work and let's have fun doing it. Let's wake up in November and say the words, Madam President. And with that, join me in welcoming hometown hero and the 48th governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
Great job. Hey, everybody. Whoa. Man, hello, Montgomery County. Hell yeah, Big Gretch. Big Gretch in the house. You know why they call her Big Gretch in Michigan? Because she gets big things done. That's right. She has fixed the damn roads in Michigan. She has flipped her legislature from red to blue in Michigan. And she has made it a mission to protect reproductive rights for women all across Michigan, and she has succeeded. Big Gretch, she cut taxes for seniors, she created jobs in the auto industry, she invested in students, she protected our freedoms. Big Gretch got a whole lot done in Michigan. And I couldn't be more grateful to have her as a dear friend, a colleague, and as someone who has shown governors the way on how to make meaningful change in their communities. Governor Whitmer, thank you for being with us today. Let me tell you, it is so good to be home. This is the community that raised me. This is the community that taught me so much.
We love you, John.
I love you back. This is the community where I went out and knocked on 18,000 doors in my neighborhoods in Abington and Upper Dublin. And you invited me in your living rooms, and you talked to me on your porches, and you shared with me your fears, and you told me about your hopes, and you sent me to the Capitol to fight for you, and I've never forgotten the lessons you taught me along the way. This is the community where I was raised, in the community that my amazing wife, Lori, Pennsylvania's First Lady, sitting right over there. Where she and I have chosen to raise our 4 children. And we feel blessed to be here. This is the community that showed me the way, that taught me about 3 simple letters in the alphabet that I reflect on every day. Governor Whitmer talked about it earlier, GSD. We focus on getting shit done here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It was those lessons that showed me the importance of a quality public education, and as your governor, we've invested more in public education than at any other time in our Commonwealth's history. Great schools for our kids, safe communities, because we've learned you can invest in police and you can make meaningful criminal justice reform. We've done both here in the Commonwealth. When I was on your porches and at your doors, you talked to me about making sure we could breathe clean air and drink pure water. It's right there in Article 1, Section 27 of our state constitution, and we are delivering that here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You taught me the valuable lessons that everyone here in the Commonwealth, no matter what they look like, where they come from, who they love or who they pray to, should have the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed. And we have delivered on that freedom agenda for you as your governor. But the most important lesson you taught me on those doors is the importance of being for the people. Standing up for the people over the powerful. You know who else stands up for the people every day? Kamala Harris stands up for the people every day. She sure does. She was a prosecutor, a tough as nails prosecutor, who went after dangerous criminals, but also had a heart to stand up for our victims. She was Attorney General like me, and let me tell you something. She wasn't afraid to take on the powerful. She took on those opioid companies. She took on the big banks. She took on the polluters, and when she looked them in the eye, she won every single time. But Kamala Harris, for the people, wasn't just in a courtroom. Kamala Harris, for the people, was in the halls of power, the corridors of power. As a United States Senator, she never forgot those lessons she learned fighting for the underdog. She stood up every day as a United States Senator, fighting for the middle class, fighting every day for our working families. Kamala Harris was chosen by our great president, Joe Biden, Pennsylvania's own Joe Biden. He chose Kamala Harris to not just campaign with him, he chose Kamala Harris because he wanted to govern with her and because he knew she was ready. Vice President Harris has been battle-tested. She is ready to not just be the standard bearer of our party, but to be the 47th President of the United States of America. She's not only ready, she's damn ready. And you know who else knows she's ready? Donald Trump knows she's ready. And you know how I know this? Because he's afraid to debate her now. Do you see that? And it's not just because she's a skilled debater and a courtroom prosecutor who knows how to make the case. He's afraid to debate her because he can't defend his record. He's afraid to debate her because she knows the truth about how he failed as a president when he had the keys to the White House 4 years ago. I want you to think about it. I know it's hard to think about, but I want you to remember those days. Those days, I know, you got to think about it for a minute. Come on, gang. Those days of chaos. Those days where you didn't want to pick up your phone and look because you just didn't want to know what he did that day. What alliance he broke across the world. What risk he was posing to our communities at home. The chaos that he injected into our lives. We don't want to go back to that, gang. We don't want to go back to that. Hell no, right? He's got a record of failure. Fewer people went to work in Pennsylvania when Donald Trump was president. Fewer roads got repaired, fewer bridges got built, and let me tell you what else there was less of when he was president. There was less freedom when he was president. Donald Trump packed the Supreme Court with his hand-picked extremists. And after he was done packing the court, one of the first big things they did was rip away the freedom from millions of women across this country when he ended Roe v. Wade. Donald Trump did that. Don't forget that. It was more chaos, less jobs, and a far less freedom when Donald Trump was president. And listen to me. He did that when he had no earthly idea how to be president back then. I'm serious. He didn't know what he was doing. And there were a whole lot of guardrails still around Donald Trump when he was president 4 years ago. Now, I want to tell you why you should be extra scared today. Remember that same Supreme Court that he packed in order to rip away women's fundamental freedoms? That same Supreme Court, his buddies he put on there, just ruled that the rule of law doesn't apply to Donald Trump anymore. They literally ruled that. He is dangerous. He is destructive. And the guardrails are off. And here's the other thing. He's told us what he wants to do. Y'all go crack open that whole Project 2025 thing. Go take a look. Go take a look at what his buddies and all his former staff wrote. That is, hold on, I'm going to repeat it. These are not my words. These are words of this guy in the front row. That's some scary shit right there. That's what he just said. It's really scary. It is an agenda to take away more of your freedoms. It is an agenda to use the police and the military in this country to settle scores with his enemies. It's an agenda to pollute our air, and it's an agenda to undermine our public health and our public safety. It's written right there in that whole Project 2025. So the guy's more dangerous because he knows what he's doing, he's got no guardrails around him anymore, and he's told us what he wants to do. What Maya Angelou say, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them the first time. He's told us what he wants to do, and he has shown us who he is. He has shown us as a guy who doesn't love this country. He really doesn't. You see him every day. He's going on and on about all the bad stuff in this country. Let me tell you something. Here in America, we are producing more energy than ever before, giving us more freedom and more national security. Let me tell you something else. Our economy under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is growing faster, stronger than ever before, and we are kicking China's butt for the first time in generations. Let me tell you something else. Not just here in Pennsylvania or in Michigan, but this morning in America, more people went to work than ever before in our nation's history. This is a great nation. And so I got a message to Donald Trump. Stop shit-talking America. This is the greatest country on the face of the earth. Let's start acting like it. I know that's true. You know that's true. He doesn't know that's true. He keeps talking us down, and he keeps trying to rip away our fundamental freedoms. I mean, I have to laugh. You ever see this guy? Like when he's on a stage, he like kind of meanders over, you know, can't really walk well, and he goes over to the flag and he like hugs the flag. I mean, I love the flag, but it's a weird thing he does, right? But while he's hugging the flag, you know what he's doing? He's ripping away our freedoms. That's what he's all about, because here's what I know. It's not freedom to tell our children what books they're allowed to read. That's not freedom. It is not freedom to tell people they can go to work, but they can't join a union. That's not freedom. It is not freedom to tell women what they're allowed to do with their bodies. That's not freedom. And hear me on this. I know this well because I was Attorney General when he was trying to stop your votes from being counted. It's not freedom to tell people they can go vote, but he's going to pick the winner. That is not freedom, and that is what we have to stop. But you know what we believe in, Pennsylvania? We believe in real freedom in this Commonwealth and in this country. And you know who else believes in real freedom? Kamala Harris believes in real freedom. Kamala Harris, she believes in the kind of freedom where we invest in that young girl's public school because we know if we give her a shot, she can make a real difference in life. That is real freedom. Kamala Harris knows we got to invest in public safety to keep our communities safe so that young girl, when she walks to school and home, she can get to and from her mama safely. That is real freedom. Kamala Harris knows real freedom means giving everybody in every community, especially communities that have been hollowed out and left behind, economic opportunity. That is real freedom, and that is what we are fighting for. Kamala Harris knows women need to have the freedom to make decisions over their own bodies. Kamala Harris knows people need to have the freedom to marry who they love. I say love is love. Kamala Harris knows real freedom means worshiping where you want, living how you want, and experiencing the bountiful of freedom all across this nation in rural, urban, and suburban communities. That is real freedom, and that is what we are fighting for. Now, Donald Trump sure is dangerous, and we've seen how close these elections can be. 55,000 votes between Pennsylvania and Michigan back in 2016. It's scary what he's proposed in this Project 2025. It's scary that the guardrails are off him. But let me tell you something, friends. I'm more optimistic than ever before. Than ever before. Because this is a nation that's already freed itself from a king. And this is a nation, and this is a commonwealth that has a unique relationship with freedom. It was here 248 years ago, just about 15 miles from where we are right now, at Independence Hall, where patriots decided to declare independence, where patriots gathered in taverns and town squares to decide that they wanted to be able to choose their own future, their own destiny. That work was here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the birthplace of democracy. And that work continues and falls to us today. Go back and look at the trajectory of the American story. Over the last 248 years, it's been patriots who have gathered in those taverns, in those town squares, and today on TikTok. Don't laugh about TikTok, that's an important place to gather. But it's been ordinary Americans coming together, rising up, demanding more, seeking justice, seeing something wrong and trying to make a right in their communities. You see, the story of America, the progress that we have made here, hasn't just been made by powerful people with titles next to their names. It's been made by all of you, deciding that we want to go in a different direction, deciding that we would stand up to kings and instead stand together with patriots. You see, the reason why I am optimistic is because we have been here before. And as a nation, we have always come through it. We have always gotten better. We have always gotten stronger. We have always gotten more just as a society. And so the task falls to each of us now to pick up the mantles from the patriots who came before us and do that hard work right now to protect our freedoms. Do that hard work right now to stand up against those who would rip it away. And do that hard work right now to make clear who we are as a nation, what we value as a nation. Listen, Kamala Harris's name is going to be on that ballot. And I, for one, am going to be pushing that button for Kamala Harris. I know you will too. But in many ways, this election isn't just about a name on the ballot. It's an election about all of us and what it is that we're willing to fight for, what it is that we're willing to work for, and what kind of future we want to build for our children and our grandchildren. Well, I don't know about you, I want a future that is cleaner and greener. I want a future with better schools and safer streets. And I want a future with more freedom, not less. And I want a future where I can look the 47th President of the United States in the eye and say, "Hello, Madam President." I hope you're with me. Let us get to work. Thank you.